Hey guys, welcome back to Mo's Game Table. Today I want to take a look inside the latest issue of C3i magazine. I just received it and really excited to take a gander through this and hopefully find some time over Christmas break to play Gettysburg that's inside this game, along with the Battle of Essie 1815. Those are your two games in this issue. Battle of Essie is going to be a hit with fans of Napoleonics, but Gettysburg is the one that has my interest the most. It's a pretty simple game, 8 pages of rules, and Mark Herman made a point of making a very simple, easy to play game, which we'll take a look at once we go through everything. This is Gettysburg here. This is the rule book that you get, and as you can see, pretty straightforward, pretty simple rules here in the game. You have your counter explanation, you have your setup information here, and then you have the illustrated example of the setup. Very low counter density, pretty simple game to understand. You have the zone of control, zone of influence here explained to you, command phase, movement phase, and then you get into the attack phase with an illustrated example, and then you have the attack procedure, attack results, and then we get to the end phase, artillery, and then you have victory, design notes, game credits, and then on the back you have your player aid. Pretty simple game, not very difficult, which makes it great. You can play with your friends, including non-war gamers. And this is a look at the map. I'm going to back this out just a little bit so you can see the map. Beautiful map. I really love the detail on the map. Just old school topographical map with terrain features. Really well done on this. And then you have down at the bottom, you have your artillery support track and your turn track, and that's it. It's just a beautiful sepia tone map. It has a very old school look to it, and I really dig it. So looking forward to playing that. Then you also have the Battle of Essie 1815. This will be, like I said, a hit with Napoleonics fans. Starts off with your general rules, game turn, orders, and activations. And then we get to strategic initiative and movement, stacking and reinforcements, facing and zones of control, artillery fire, shock combat, cavalry charges, and then an example of the cavalry charge. Get to disorder, rout, recoil, and retreat, rallying and demoralization, night and fog, and then on victory on page 11. And then you have background history on the Battle of Essie and specific rules and setup for it as well. And in the back here, it looks like you have 2 scenarios. Scenario 1 is Battle of Essie, July 3rd, 1815, and then Essie, the 2nd of July, 1815. So both of them are historical scenarios, and with all your setup information in there as well. And then the back of that has an ad for C3i, and then this is the map for Essie. Nice looking map, 3D villages and forts, or no, this is actually a seminary. And on the side here you have your turn track, and at the top you have a terrain effects chart, or your terrain legend, I should say, that tells you the different levels of the terrain on the map. But very pretty map, going to work very well for that game. Then you have the player aid for Battle of Essie. There's your tech and all of the effects terrain has, and then the DRMs for shock or charge, as well as modifiers for artillery battle. You have your fire table, your odds table, shock and charge table, and everything that you'll need for Battle of Essie. And then in here we've got 2 scenarios for table battles from Tom Russell from Hollandspiel. He has added a couple of special scenarios for subscribers and purchasers of C3i. So you can add this to your table battles games, which if you have not grabbed it, you can get it at hollandspiel.com. It's a very popular game. It is done very well for Hollandspiel, and this is a great way to extend that reach out to a new audience that may not be available, or I should say may not be aware of Hollandspiel. So give that a look. And then here are the table battles cards that you get with this magazine. You have to have the game to play it. This is the cards that you'll use for the 2 2 scenarios. And then we get some awesome extra art here, cover art from Roger McGowan for the various games, ASL and Combat Commander up front, so on and so forth. So great looking art, nice little cards too. I really like these cards. Rounded corners on the cards and everything, so definitely going to be great cards. Then you have a couple of scenarios here. We've got the Northern scenario for Holland 44. For owners of that, you're going to have that, and then you're also going to have the layout for the Allied reinforcements and the German reinforcements on the back for the Northern scenario. Then there is a battle board for Pendragon, the Fall of Rome and Britain, and on the back is your player aid for Gettysburg. Then you have Pericles. This is an edition for Pericles that is single-sided. And then we get to the counters. And we have counters for Gettysburg, one of the games, Battle of Essie as well on the right-hand side. Then we have Holland 44 counters. I'm going to assume that these are either errata counters or maybe they're for the Northern battle game that comes in the game. And then you have a couple of extra counters here, a couple of rows of extra counters for Arquebus and also for Empire of the Sun. So those are the extra counters that you're going to get on this edition of C3i, which is number 32. So now we'll take a look through the magazine itself. We've got plenty of great stuff inside. Of course, there's talking about the Battle of Essie. We have 66 pages of goodness. And we'll start off at the first article we've got is about Ukraine 43. It's a counterfactual history scenario for Ukraine 43. Here we've got an article from Mark Herman, Strategy in Pericles during the Peloponnesian War. And he goes into great detail on Pericles, which is a really fun game. If you've not played it, I definitely recommend giving it a go. And then we have the Lysander 2-player variant for Pericles, Banish All Their Fears, which is the bayonet and musket battle system. And then we have in Cleo's Corner another article from Mark. It says, Take Me to Your Leader, or Where's the Bot? And then we get to an interview with Volko Runke. And then there's the Northern scenario for Holland 44. And then we have strategy tips, the Barbarians for Pendragon from the designer Morgan Guillon-Reti. That will be very valuable to players of Pendragon. So there's a lot of depth in that game. Then you have Last Eagles, Ligny 1815, a strategy and tactics in the game. Interesting article here from Good Parents on similarity and diversity in the coin series. And then we have the C3i scenario guide for table battles, the 2 scenarios that we were talking about that come with the game. And then a C3i interview with Ben Hall and Great Battles of History, scenario designer's notes. Empire of the Sun, Thai Burma Railway by Rowan Eckert. And Roads to Moscow, World Hobby Report. This is by a couple of guys that are co-owners of Pro War Game Store in Moscow. But that is a look inside C3i issue number 32. If you've not ordered it, you can do so now. It is available, and it will be available on Amazon in early January. But that's a look inside C3i magazine, issue number 32. If you have any comments or questions, post them down below. Thanks for tuning in, guys. See you next time.